All right, 365 days of horsemanship, day 236. I am equally as tired as I was yesterday, but today I've had coffee, so that helps. A nice day today, actually. I came up against the same mental block prior to coming up, where it was just easier mentally not to come in the moment, but pushed through it and came anyway. And I actually had a really nice session, and I feel like there's some increased mental clarity with me in my goals, which is cool. I came to Lawrence first, and basically today my goal with Lawrence was how do I describe this? Being in different positions, essentially around him, moving towards being at a touching distance until things got better. And while I'm doing that, it's all kind of going quite well, quite nicely. We've done a little bit of scratching. Then after the scratching, that's been quite settled, which has been nice. Quite quickly, he's settled back into just grazing, or went over to get some hay at some point, and that was nice too. And I think it's good. I think the question I have with Lawrence is, I felt this feeling that it's okay for me to start to ask him for things now. And I think the next thing that I really feel like I want to talk about with him is haltering. And I think I now have another question for Elsa around direct line. And it's something that has come up a lot. I remember when I was doing probably natural horsemanship, there was a time where, at that time, in the kind of communities that I was involved with, there was this real emphasis on not being direct line, on being a lateral thinker, and not being so task focused. And so I think I've always used that as a reason or an excuse to avoid repetition of an exercise. And I think it's really important to have a balance and to not drill something. But I also think that potentially the time is right for me to, because it is a conversation that's challenging for him. He's engaged in it. It's something that will evoke a response in him. And I think to have these multiple sessions where I would be coming up and bringing the halter, I think consistently talking about that conversation is something that actually could be really valuable, really powerful. And then it means that, I can ask the question, and then once the question has been answered, we can move on, we can talk about something else, we can look at these different distances, things like that. He definitely is reaching out for the nose touch really often, which is nice. He definitely reached out for that a few times today, and I think that's really coming along. I got a good answer from Elsa around when I meet a horse in the field, because I've had this with Mia's herd quite a bit. I would come up to see Mia, and I would meet her in the field, and then another horse would come up and be super interested in me. There's a couple of youngsters in that herd who are super interested, and I'm over and over and over again, nose touch, walk away, nose touch, walk away, walked through the tail and around. And the way that Elsa described it to me when I asked her about it was, the nose touch does mean next I'm gonna do something easier, or the horse is asking for things to get better or easier for them. So if you can do that, and then the way that you're making things easier is that you're saying, okay, I'm going to make this easier for you because you don't need to look at me. Which I'd never really considered. But then she said, if you're not going to be able to do that, then actually it's not an appropriate time for a nose touch, particularly if the horse is coming back over and over and over again. That's clearly not enough for them to feel better, and so therefore you just need to keep walking past them, which has actually worked quite well. And since I've stopped doing the nose touch in those situations, I have found that those horses are not as obsessed, which is really super. And I definitely have a clearer understanding of the meaning of the nose touch now, which is good. And with Lawrence, definitely today I was able to have the nose touch and then do a little scratch on the ears or have a nice moment together, which was really nice. It was good. It was a sort of short session. It came to a nice natural end where I was standing touching him on his chest, and I started rocking him. And he did take 2 steps back, but then after that, he looked around on the floor at the hay, and so that's why I left it. And I think now it's really just about that consistency of coming up and being happy working with these tasks of being comfortable at the touching distance and potentially introducing the halter as well in a more consistent way. I definitely felt much more intrinsically positive about the session, and this idea of like kind of coming up and just being a horse with him was really nice. So yeah, so it was good. And then I went to Mia and continued to play the game that we've been playing around walking until she moves a foot. And then when she moves a foot, coming into sync with her and trying to then stay in sync with her. And really quickly, like literally after 1 or 2 times of me doing that, she then started walking and walked with me to a new spot, which was lovely. And this really feels like the in to how to communicate with her, because it's something that she's doing anyway that I can get involved with, where things get slightly more uncomfortable when I'm not in sync with her, and she can easily rectify that by taking a step. She doesn't need to look up, she doesn't need to do any of this, and actually it's really opening the door for us, which is really cool. So I'm really happy that I've kind of come across that, and yeah, it seemed to be going quite well today. I was playing around with it for probably about 10 minutes, just kind of being in different places, walking until she moved. And I think with Mia, I can see now where I am in the journey, because I've been there with Lawrence before, where I can see that actually the goal with Mia is just to build that time together connected, grazing together, finding out which places are comfortable for her. And I think that's not really a place we've been in before, where I've been able to come and have a conversation. I definitely felt more today like we were interactive, the same as I had done the day before, which is really important and powerful when I look at that against a backdrop of where we were, 200 days ago to where we are now. I think I feel great, and I actually feel great even compared to where we were a month ago. I feel great. So this is a really big breakthrough to have this opportunity to interact in that way. I think the challenge with her is going to be incorporating kind of other things like the dominant leadership more, things like that. But this feels positive, so I'm really happy about that. Yeah. And I'm definitely hoping that my time away with Elsa will help me to trust the process more with the freedom-based training, and potentially mean that I can lean into that more and get better results, rather than constantly kind of like, I feel like I'm always dipping my toe in, like I do it as much as I can believe in, and then at the last second, like I'm like, oh, I don't know, and I don't have that real like let go, like trust and belief, where I'm just like, yeah, like this is definitely going to work. And I think that's really what I need to make this work, without feeling like I have to rely on more dominant leadership all the time to get anything done, particularly with Mia, but really with both of them. I think I really want to feel like I can see a progression to being able to do things with the freedom-based training. And I'm hoping that Elsa's is going to be a time of immersion where I can really see like how, when I really commit, how much time it takes and what I can get out as an end result. So I'm really excited about that, definitely. So yeah, so it was a good session all in all. Yeah, very happy. And yeah, looking forward to the next few days. I have a few days off now, so hopefully the next few days I should be able to make it up a few times. So yes, that's going to be really good.